Hey up, Jamie, you okay?
Yeah, all good. All good.
We've
New year, new me.
you. We've definitely not just taken off our jumpers, so it looks like a different day.
No, not at all. Just the Christmas just a little bit.
So first week of 2022.
Yeah.
We've got quite a few tests to be doing this week, don't we?
Yeah.
We should probably go through what we've got specific focus wise and what's like more generally the focus as well. I'll quickly just talk about the general focus, and then we'll go into a couple more specifics.
Yep.
So general focus for this phase, obviously we've loosely based the class program on what has been the all-rounder program, which is now called the JST Athlete program. And things are now getting more specific with the open quarterfinals coming up. So it's a case of like doing more CrossFit workouts. Things are kind of more specific, you know, touching all the different bases that might come up, but still kind of remembering that at the end of the day, this is a GPP program as well. So we kind of do that anyway a little bit through the year, but again, it's kind of just more straight up workouts, more straight up CrossFit is what you can, you know, generally expect in this phase of training. If we kind of just go into a few more like specifics though of what we're going to be addressing a little bit more, let's get stuck into that. So the first thing is strength endurance. So obviously before Christmas we had our front squat cycle. Before that we had, you know, kind of all-round strength. So things have gradually got more specific over the months, and obviously now like the chances of a clean coming up or squat cleans or, you know, any form of clean coming up in the open is pretty likely, isn't it really? So it makes sense for us to work on the endurance aspects, you know, of a squat clean with our newfound strength, and for people to get used to more reps at the higher weights that they'll be working at. Is there anything you want to add on this first point, Jamie?
No, I think that just understanding the principles behind how we've got to this point, I think is key for, we're rolling around in January, so you'll have a lot of newer members joining the gym. So how does a brand new member integrate into a program that maybe started 9 months ago? Well, hopefully how we've set this plan out will allow us to get that person to work the skills. So because we're not working low rep ranges as frequently, it gives the newer member an opportunity to practice. So just making sure that they get the intensity relevant to them. So it's not pushing the weight too hard. It's not increasing in difficulty too fast. Then you'll be on that kind of road to success with your beginner members. Obviously, if you've had members that have been in and been following your plan, they've gone through the single leg phase, they've gone through the higher volume, the hypertrophy phase, and now they've got a much bigger base of strength. But that means that then, because they can handle those heavier loads, they need to make sure that they can handle them at those higher volumes. We've all been there, standard open workouts. People have got the ability to do the clean in the isolation, but we add fatigue around it and people can't stand it up. Lower backs start blowing up. And it's all of those areas that we need to kind of tackle to make sure that that doesn't happen come open time. So that would be my penance worth, is understanding where someone is in their training journey at your gym. If they're brand new, it's just strength work. Don't worry about the endurance, it's practice. If you've been here a while, the endurance is the key aspect of it.
I also think most people just love a clean in some shape or format over a snatch, if we're looking at, you know, the majority of people. So again, just like this format of workout you'll see later on on this day is, again, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, it looks like a cool, you know, barbell cycling workout. Like I said, we'll get stuck into that a little bit more. So other specific points for this phase: so conditioning, getting fit, this times in really well with just the time of year. And like Jim said, you know, after Christmas, people want to lose a bit of weight or start to get fit again. So it fits in really well of preparing for, you know, the Open and giving members what they want this time of year.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in, we run a GPP plan. So when we write open prep conditioning, it's one of those ones that the CrossFit you've been doing is preparing you more than enough for the CrossFit Open and what's to come and life in general. But what we've done here is we have tailored a few of the workouts, and we've got a baseline test to really measure those simple movements. So for an advanced level athlete, it's operating those basic movements at high capacities. And again, if we flip it to the newer member, because we are going to see an influx of members joining in January, it's using those basics to build the base. And then we can kind of start to pick it back up. Learning or teaching someone how to do wall balls really well will then transfer into people's front squat, into their thruster, and then all of a sudden we can build something better than where our base is quite narrow.
Yeah, great stuff. And then the final one is ring muscle ups.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, agreed. We had, you briefly mentioned before about you've been reading the high performance book.
Yep.
That's recently come out, and you said you told the story of the dog to your members. Do you want to just explain that to us here, and how this will probably kind of fit in with tackling, you know, the ring muscle up?
Yeah, so backstory on that, there was a bit of research in the high performance book, and it's not the nicest story initially when you start explaining it, but it has great relevance. So it talks about a case study where they take some dogs, they lock them in a cage, lock them in there, and then they electrode them. So they give them a shock. The dogs go mad to try and escape, and they go mad, and they keep basically going through the rigor on that. And then the dogs basically lose a bit of heart. They kind of start to give up. They give them a little bit of a rest. They open the crate door, or they unlock it, and then they continue to shock them. But because of the thought process of the dog thinking, I'm never going to succeed, they don't try. So that's the backstory. That's the kind of scientific side of it in a really horrible way. And how I kind of had this conversation with a few members is, if you don't believe that you can do it, you'll never give it your full effort. So we've all seen it as a group of coaches, normally on the bar muscle up or the ring muscle up, where the member walks up and you can see them look up at the rings or the bar, and they're already doubting their ability to do it. And normally what will happen with me is, if I see that and identify that, I'll be like, stop. Because if you're only going to give it 95% for your first ring or bar muscle up, you need 100% effort and concentration. So that 5% will make someone doubt it even more. And then the effort level reduces. And then we start to get into that negative mindset. And I know JST we do really good work where we talk about be a fountain rather than a drain. If you have those members at the whiteboard where you say the RX on DT is 70, and the members go, oh, who's going to do that? Well, I guarantee it's not going to be you if you're telling me that. There'll be someone there who's not saying anything, and they're like, I can't do it yet. And when they say they can't do it yet, I guarantee they're going to get closer in the next 6 months because of how they've dealt with that mindset. So yeah, it's a good conversation, certainly at these higher skill movements, because it is obvious when a member can do a ring muscle up and a member can't do a pull up. It's obvious to see. When you're watching burpees, some people are just doing them faster than others. Everyone's still doing the same thing. So we do have periods in the gym which are difficult for people to actually compute when they can't do something, because no one wants to be able to do it. But from a coach's point of view, it's steering people into the right direction. So yeah, that's my little story, and it comes from the coach. If you can spot it, if you can spot doubt before it gets too much inside someone, that's going to fix a lot of issues physically and mentally.
On a side note to this, for you guys as coaches, if you are struggling with anything in particular in teaching and coaching the ring muscle up, let us know. or pass it on to, you know, your gym owner to then pass it on to us to let us know, because then we can give you how we've tackled that problem in the past, or what we, you know, would do in that scenario, that could really help. Because the more, you know, weapons you've got in your arsenal and ways that you've got to tackle a problem, you know, the better. And I think breaking down into what members need to be able to do to get a ring muscle up, like Jamie said before, like, can you do 10 toaster rings as an example without coming down? Can you do a strict pull-up or 3 strict pull-ups? Can you do 3 strict ring dips? You know, it's like, break it down into that. So then members like, all right, well, I know I can tick that off. And then, all right, yeah, I can tick that off. And then it's like, well, can you do X amount of ring transitions with your feet on a box, with good control? And then, oh yeah, like, I can tick that off. So then it's like, right, you've got all these pieces to the puzzle. Let's put it together. So again, that could be, we're going to touch on this briefly as well, but again, that can be like little extras that we give members maybe outside of class as well, like additional little bits of homework if people, you know, really want to strive to get that ring muscle up. But yeah, we'll go into a little bit more detail on that very shortly as well. Right, let's get stuck into the actual week of programming now then. So going on from the first specific kind of goal, one of the specific goals this phase, strength endurance, we've got a squat clean ladder. Hit me with it, Jamie.
Yeah, so when we were kind of thinking about, well, when we were doing the strength work, we did 10 rep maxes, then we were kind of building to a 1 rep max front squat. How do we build capacity? Well, it's not, I considered a workout maybe something like a calso, which is like a 60 kilo kind of variation of that, but then that stays at what we call it like a static weight, and then the fatigue builds. Whereas we wanted here to still build some strength if people have the opportunity to kind of build up in weight. So this would look really, really similar to or familiar to a lot of CrossFitters that have done the open over the last 4 or 5 years, in respect to, there was an open workout which had squat cleans, toes to bar and double unders. The reason I've excluded those, it would be very easy to just throw that workout in. There's too much outside interference and it's not necessarily focused on the squat clean. So removed it, used similar weights. So that's why some of them may look a little bit peculiar, but I've tried to follow the American weights, because another area that a lot of people won't have been used to is making the jumps that are written on here. So 42 to 60, fairly standard jump from the guys, but then 60 to 85, that's quite a peculiar jump. Normally it's a 60 to 80. But that's what you would see in the CrossFit Open. And same for on the lady side, the numbers jump up. So it's 21, 15, 9, 6, 3, 1. 1 round for time, 15-minute time cap. My spies at Blitz I've had a couple of people already test this. One lady did it RX and her 1 rep max was 85. And I think she was able to get 1 rep on her 1 rep max at 85 within that 15-minute window. So there's capacity there. There was a guy who scaled, so these percentages that I've put down, the 40 to 50%, finishing at 90 to 95%. One of our regular members, he used those percentages and did his last squat clean at like 14 minutes and 30 seconds. So we can say Perfect. From a time cap, it's quite tight. It's where you work on those 15s and 9s of having a plan on how often do you go. We've done a few of our sessions where we go every 20 seconds, go every 30 seconds. Initially, you want to hang on to it for a little bit, 2 minutes for those 21 squat cleans. And then on the 9, 6 and 3, just have maybe 5 to 10 seconds longer between each rep as you're chipping through them.
Yeah, what you'll find with your heart rate on this workout is it gets pretty high on the 21 and the 15s. And as you go through the workout, your heart rate will come down. So bear that in mind as well, that graft at the start a little bit more, and then when we get to the later weights, you'll have a bit more rest in between reps, your heart rate will come down. Yeah, then you should be able to maintain good quality throughout. we finished the day off with just some simple accessory work, upper body, kind of maintenance strength work, and some core work as well. The idea of that is just getting good quality reps that are in and around a 7 RPE to give you a guide, make sure people can do, pick a load that they can do unbroken, at least for the first two rounds on that. So yeah, just a nice bit of action.
Also looking at preparing our shoulders for the next day. So it's looking to add into building some tension for our ring muscle ups the day after. If we think about this, might be the first workout that a lot of members do if they have taken a bit of a break between Christmas and New Year. So the last thing they want to do is just do a load of leg work via the clean, and then the next day they're swinging around on the ring. So this is kind of a bit of prep work, like Jack said, RPE 6 to 7. Get some blood pumping, get it away from the legs, which will probably be quite nice after that workout, and then get you ready for the tests to come on the Tuesday.
Great point. Ring muscle ups then. Like we said, that was one of our key focuses for this phase. We obviously want to set a benchmark that we can retest, going forward. Put a line in the sand, as you like to say.
Yeah.
You've give options for people to do. Do you just kind of want to go through a little bit how you'd run through those options in a class?
Yeah, so what we've kind of gone pull up, and then it's just finished off the handstand push-ups, strict, and now our next focus is the ring muscle up. We've given the options, we've got kind of five options plus the RX. And in terms of delivering to a class, go from stage number 5. And stage number 5 can be straight from your warm-up. So if you notice in your warm-up, it finishes with some ring rows. People are already down by those rings. Right, guys, grab a box, put it in front. This is where we're going to start. And then it includes the whole class. So that inclusivity of when you come to have the best hour of your day, by the end of the warm-up, you will have people up on the high rings and you will have people still where you are, but they've been included from the start. Whereas if you start up at a level that's too difficult for some of the members, they're kind of left twiddling their thumbs. And as nice as you want to be as a coach, if you're on your own and you've got 15 people in the room and someone's doing the ring swing slightly wrong, you've got to fix them. You can't then just ignore the people that are not able to do stuff. And I'm not a fan of, right, guys, just go over there and do some ring rows to practice on your own. That's not coaching. That's leaving someone on their own and not helping them. So getting yourselves from that lower scale, and then you take people through, and people will kind of fail trying. So some people might go ring row, then they'll get the low ring muscle up, and then they might start to struggle on the toes to rings. So they come back down a scale. Some people might go one stage further and get to the ring pull up, but then they can't do the ring chest to bar, so then they come back down. So everyone will fall within this scale. And that's one of my favorite ways to integrate a whole group, when you have a group of members, that some that can and then some that can't.
Also, with these options, you, as a coach, you'll probably be quite familiar with who's got a good kip in the class, who is maybe stronger and hasn't got as good of a kip. And you can kind of pick the options a little bit like that as well. So say, for example, you've got, a guy that's really strong. He can maybe do a strict ring muscle up, but his kipping's actually not that good, or he can't do kipping ring muscle ups. It could be that, right, you're going to do toes to ring because that is ultimately what's going to benefit you down the line when it comes to actually trying to get a ring muscle up. Or if it's someone can do one ring muscle up, right, to help you get to grips with starting to link those reps, it will actually be more beneficial for you to do chest to ring pull-ups.
Yeah.
It's just having, again, that bit more perspective and being aware of where people are at, and just tailoring the class or that part of the class to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, worth bearing that in mind as well. But like Jamie said, I'd go through those options from 5 up to 1, and then obviously finishing up with ring muscle ups as you build up through the the options there. So then you're covering all bases.
Yeah.
We've then got, this is like a classic JST benchmark that we've used since 2013. A 10-minute max cal bike was the original, but again, depending on what machines you've got, use a row, use, you know, whatever you've got access to. It's just the best test for testing low skill fitness. Like, where is your engine at? There's very little skill in the test at all. So it's pretty much just all lungs, like, what have you got in the tank? And 10 minutes is, on average, where most, you know, CrossFit workouts sit, either a little bit less than that or a little bit more than that. So it ticks off all the boxes. And again, it's just a great benchmark to have that then you can apply to workouts, either if it does have a machine in and it's like, right, I know I can hold this pace for 10 minutes. Or like if you're doing a workout, right, these are similar feels to what I did on the 10-minute bike. I know I can maintain this sort of feeling for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So just using that and applying it to other workouts is super handy as well.
Definitely. I think one of the things, obviously, from a physical training perspective, it's a great benchmark. You, in 8 weeks' time, if you do it and you get more calories, you're fitter. If you do less, you are less fit. It's there's no if, buts, or maybes. But one of the other areas that I've done this a lot, and I have an assault bike at home, and in lockdown I used it an awful lot. And it's the lie detector test. It's the effort, and you can't see it as a coach. You can't see it. So the conversation you need to have with your members is, was that all you could give? And if they go, yeah, pat on the back, regardless of number. That number could be 50 off someone else, but if that person who was 50 ahead didn't give it their all, did they really get the best workout? The person who got 50 less is actually getting a better workout. So that's the conversation to have. And that also include the very inclusivity style day is those members that know they're not going to get many. Well, let's not worry about the number. Let's worry about the effort. The numbers are really there as a benchmark for in 8 weeks' time, or for those members that are kind of on the verge of maybe wanting to compete. That's when we go, right, if you're on an assault bike, 200 plus calories for a male. That's if you're interested in being in the game, you've got to be in the numbers. 200, when I said that probably haunts like those numbers. I remember Ben used to come in and go, there's this guy up north called Kev. And he could just do this machine. Yeah. And he could do this machine over and over again. And you're like, oh, what could he get? And he's like, 220, 230. I was like, what? A minute. Savage.
Yeah. I feel like Cam Nichols got the best score on that though. I feel like Cam got 227, or maybe he did it again and got over 230. But I feel like Kev was like you said, between 220 and 230. And then me and Ben were like pretty much the same, I think, after that. But I'd say for a class member, if you're a guy and you're hitting above 170, 180, I'd say that's pretty decent. Yeah. On the ladies' side of things, again, this is assault bike. If you're getting over kind of 120, 130, again, it's pretty good. Obviously, like I said, we've gone through guys' top numbers there. I think the best female number I've seen on a 10-minute assault bike test is 160-ish from Lucy Marjorie, and that was back in 2016 or whenever it was. And I think Ella's had 150 plus when she's done it more recently. So, gives you a bit of an idea of where people sit in the grand scheme of things. But as long as people
mentioned it as well, like apples and oranges, like compare bike to bike, row to row, assault bike, echo bike, like just remember whatever piece of equipment you do it on originally, try to retest on it. Me on an assault bike, I'm far better. It's got my arms and my whole body in there. The Concept 2 still get a decent score, but nowhere near where I am on an assault bike.
I'd if possible, I'd probably try and number the rowers and the bikes for the next, and just leave it on for the next couple of months, just so people are getting on the same machine.
Yeah.
So it is, like you say, it's the same. But yeah, on to Wednesday.
Yep.
Back squats, obviously going through this phase, it's more kind of, we've got to be touching on all different kind of stimuli, that more endurance side of things, as well as hitting some heavier bits as well. This covers all bases.
Yep.
So you've got to do a heavy set, a 20, then 15, then 10, then 5. It's covering all bases, which is what we want to do it. We're going to carry on this format going forward. So for example, next week, it might be 15, 12, 8, 4, or something like that. Again, just so we're covering all bases going through this phase of training. It might not just be back squat, it might be front squat another week. We'll kind of mix it up. It might be deadlift another week. Yeah, so that's what you can expect with the strength work on that side of things there.
I've put a little note in for, again, the January member or the returning member, with a set of 20 or 15, it will possibly do two things. The loading may not be relevant or at all, because of the higher volume in it. And then secondly, they might be detrained, so that volume might have a knock-on effect for the 10 and the 5. Neither are going to help this person get better at back squats. So in there, we've got like 4 sets of 5 to 8. Look at a nice controlled tempo. It means then they can start to get a better idea of numbers as well. So what I mean by that is, more advanced people, if I said find a heavy set of 20, we would have a rough idea and we wouldn't be too far away. Whereas a complete beginner, they might put 60 on and they should be using 30, and they'll get 5 reps in and then having to rack it, and it'll just knock their confidence. So just be mindful of those members returning. You don't want to put too much into their legs. Their legs will probably be pretty tired if they did the bike the day before. I know my legs get quite sore after that kind of test. It's not a 20 minutes where my legs are flushing the whole time. It's they feel pretty leady the next couple of days after 10 minutes.
Yeah. Again, just a good point to bear in mind looking at the week as a whole. And again, if it could be that people that do know the percentages, like if the legs are feeling leady, they might not get near that 65%, but that's all good, because you're still going to get the stimulus that we want. So yeah, bear in mind. Then this is pretty much identical to what's on the JST Athlete program, but we've just done it in a partner format. So any people in your class, in your gym, that are on the compete program, on the JST Athlete program, get them to do this. Get them to. The back squats are in as well on that day, so get them to do that class workout. One of the big things that we like to get across is just inclusivity, and everyone is the same. So by that I mean that if someone's following a competitor's program, they shouldn't be acting like they're better than everyone else, because they're not. That's not how it is. Being better at CrossFit doesn't mean you're a better person. Everyone should be treated the same and are the same. So again, just good to kind of be mingling members together, get everyone involved. And yeah, just a good reality check for both people that maybe do follow the JST Athlete program, and a good check-in for members who maybe are, again, a bit too big for the boots and thinking, oh yeah, I'm smashing this as well. So covers.
We've got the perfect workout for it, right? Whenever there's deadlifts and burpees, it's one of, like, if you think of the very first CrossFit Games, I think there was a 5-round workout with maybe 5 deadlifts at 275 and 7 just regular burpees, and I think you just watch the kind of intensity that people can get out of those basic movements. So yeah, it's a real gut check. That's the deadlift weight for the open, 100 whatever you want to call it, and 70, and then those bar facing burpees, being able to maintain good tension after about a minute rest. So your deadlifts are good quality. We put that in the notes. It's not a hang on for the end of the world kind of deadlift. It's a good quality one. And then it's how can you be efficient? Manage the rest. If you have an odd number in your class, rest 1-to-1, like I've kind of already written down. And then try to pair people up. Now, this is always a good conversation. This is a good topic to have. Do you pair people up, or do you let friends go with friends? And I want to say the answer is yes. Like, both are correct from a coaching point of view. I'll give you 2 examples. 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. The members don't want to think. Tell them who they're going with. All right. I coach a Friday class at TO at 9:15, and their pairs are already chosen. They've already had that conversation in the week. The guys and the girls that are coming, they already know exactly who they're going with. So it's like, just let them be. So yeah, both are wise words. Tread wisely, because if you put someone with someone they don't like, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. If it's a newbie, you choose who they go with.
Yeah.
Again, just easier, breaks the ice for that person, especially if you're someone new. Like, asking someone else can be quite, intimidating, especially if you're a beginner to CrossFit as well. So pick someone in the class that is friendly, has got a bit of chat, and is welcoming. So, and happy to kind of pass on any little, nuggets of information. Like, it could be do something on your deadlifts, or whatever. Someone that's happy to kind of share a bit of advice as well. So for a newbie, pick their partner would be my advice there.
Yeah.
Wednesday, we've got some handstand walk practice. Nice bit of skill work. Thursday, yeah, Thursday. Hey, we did a good video on this, didn't we? Or like some progressions towards this.
Yeah. I'll carry on. Yeah, one of those ones where I think we'll get the video out to you guys. It's already on our YouTube page. Very similar to the ring muscle up, that getting people started from the base level and going through those simple progressions to get people to stop at a certain point when they can't do something. But then it also, for that elite level person, will warm someone up adequately. We've all been there. Handstand walk. I've got the handstand walk. I think I did it when I come up. Steve was like, how's your handstand walk? I went, I don't know, we'll find out. No kick up against the wall, just kick up, and if you fall over, you fall over. Fortunately enough, I was going in the right direction when I was going. So yeah, for a lot of people, it's a matter of just trying to kind of build those progressions and get themselves ready.
Yeah. Pardon me. Then for the workout after, keeping that low stroke rate stuff. You did a load of stuff with the guys here just to help refine the technique, which was really helpful. Jamie's done a bit of a video on this for you guys as well, just so you can tell members the ins and outs of why they're doing it, how best to kind of, fit the different levels of members as well. But yeah, again, just some great practice there on the machine where you don't have to think about what your split is.
Yeah, I think we've done this workout before. I think I brought it back in for a lot of members to kind of have another practice with. That low rate rowing also takes your focus off how fast you're having to row, and it gives you a new focus. A lot of the times people can get that kind of green ember. They're just looking at the numbers and they're like obsessed with, I need to do anything and everything I can to make that number go where it needs to go. But actually just focusing on that stroke rate allows you to move away. It becomes more of a recovery row, and then the number will be what it will be. Some extra pull-up gains in there to kind of, again, prime ourselves for the following day where we've got some chest to bars, a bit more pull-in.
Oh. On to the Friday, we've got some snatch work. Every 30 seconds, an ascending weight. Again, this should be kind of just hitting rep after rep that looks the same. you've put a little nice little note in there that says any step forward or step backs can be rewarded with burpees, which is perfect. I love that.
It's never a punishment exercise. It's never a punishment. Just a reminder that you made a little mistake.
Yeah. If someone does miss a snatch, what you're telling them, Jamie?
Initially, obviously, if they miss it downright, like as in it's completely gone, there's probably 50 different faults. Give them just one thing to focus on, because they're probably trying to overanalyze it. Always have that dialogue where I ask the member, what are you thinking about? And if they rattle off more than 3 things, I'm like, well, you need to stop. Let's just pick the one. Let's pick the one. So been coaching a lot. Today we had it's Thursday that we're filming this again. And it was a 1 rep max snatch. And one of the members was swinging the bar out. So once it contacted the hip, swinging the bar out. But that fundamentally come from moving a bit too fast off of the floor. So we just did some basic drills to kind of get them back into it. And he was like, oh, I'm landing on my toes. I'm landing with my hips forward. I'm like, yes, you are. So making them aware of those mistakes, but that wasn't my priority. And it's just cutting down the mistakes until we end up with one. And then once we get no mistakes, then we put more weight on to cause a new mistake. And then we go back through that whole triage. So yeah, kind of in answer to your question is I only tried to give one thing at a time for someone to try and think about and fix.
Yeah, that's similar to me. I like to get the person to go through a little checklist before they move the bar off the floor as well. So for me, usually if something is wrong lower down the chain, it's obviously not going to be on point as you move up through the rest of the movement. So if you've checked off all the things before you've even pulled up, the bar off the floor, like just do your shoulders set, is your weight balance through your foot, that sort of stuff, is the bar, just touching your shin or just off. Just checking them things before you move the bar is, again, just going to put you in a much better position as well.
9 times out of 10, that mistake that's happening overhead is caused by something lower down.
Yeah.
That start position, getting those shins nice and vertical, getting the knees out of the way. All of those things mean the bar's going to move in a straight line. And then you've seen that member that lands and it's like they've landed on a wobble board.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not because of a lack of shoulder stability or strength. Yeah. It's because that bar's come at them from a different angle. Mm-hmm. Just by doing a snatch deadlift, a snatch pull, and then putting it back in, will probably fix that issue that's overhead. And everyone, a newer coach will go, let's do some banded distraction mobility or trying to work on like the SOTS press and things like that. Actually, just get the slingshot moving in the right direction, and then it'll hit you in the right place.
And so I always used to say this, like, if the bar is where you want it to be, it will land where you want it to, and it will just feel spot on. It'll feel perfect. If there's any slight discrepancy in your pull and it's slightly off, obviously when you go to catch it, if it's a little bit forward, you're going to have to step forward or adjust your body position. It's, it just makes sense rather than it being like shoulder stability. Well, obviously if the bar's slightly in front, then you're more likely to lose it in front. It's just, pretty simple when you look at it like that. But yeah, we then use this format of workout after a couple of times before Christmas.
Yep.
So we're hitting the Tabata row or machine, depending on how much kit you've got available. Again, we're just re-emphasizing the point, getting that heart rate up so that when we get into the AMRAP, it feels like the second half of a longer 15 to 20 minute workout. We've got a nice triplet. Again, all movements that you're likely to see come the open. And in fact, chest to bar pull-ups and front rack walking lunges, I'm pretty sure I've been in as a combination in the open before with like burpees maybe in the past. So
that's good CrossFit knowledge. So
it's gonna have them feels. I remember, in fact, I feel like this was the workout. It was something like 8 chest to bar pull-ups. It was an overhead walking lunge, burpees at the other side, overhead walking lunge back, like chest to bar pull-ups. And it was one of the worst workouts I remember doing in the open, to be honest.
Yeah, savage. It was the first and only year that they used a barbell for an overhead walking lunge.
Yeah, it was.
At Blitz, we were so lucky. It's a 25-foot segment. We had 27 foot across the gym to lunge.
Shit.
So members were finishing with their face against this perspex glass, couldn't turn it around, so they'd then step back and then drop it. So I remember as a gymnasium, I used to be called Into CrossFit, they had one space that they could do that. And 20 people turned up to their 6 a.m. class to do the open workout. And it was a 20-minute workout, an AMRAP for 20 minutes. Because we ran 2 heats. So I had like a 5-minute warm up. Right, guys, you're in 6 a.m. on that Friday. Judges score sheets. Been up since 3 a.m. panicking about it because I'd watched it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah.
We'll do a separate video on how you can deliver the open. And then we just all pray that workout doesn't come up
ever again. Yeah, I actually walked. It was the last walking lunge to finish like whatever round it was, and I hit the bar on the rig, and it obviously made me fall over with the bar, and then I didn't end up finishing that round, which was infuriating. So yeah, those were my memories from that specific workout. Right, and then Saturday, this is another open prep, like baseline test. This brings back memories for me of it'd be 2 years ago now. Last year, so 2021, of Reggie and Taylor, when they initially moved down to Wigan. Steve put them through some tests to see, where they're at. Like, it was all open movements, and this is very, very similar. They called it booty camp last year when they did it. But again, it's just combinations of movements that you'd see coming up in the open. So we've got wall ball and cow row. Then we've got dumbbell snatch, toes to bar, and then finishing up with burpees to touch. Again, because it's pretty low skill, it's stuff that you can push on every single bit of the workout. Yeah. It's going to be tough though.
Yeah, I think when we were looking at creating this, we wanted to give no excuses. That's like our 10-minute test on the Tuesday, where that's super, super low skill. But then you've got an outlier. So I would say that you've got a big guy or a big girl who can kind of move a machine. They're an outlier. They're not necessarily, they show up as fit on a machine test, but then it's a slightly different story when we get them moving their body weight through space. This is a good leveler. So you've got like 19.1 and then like a snatch, like gymnastics couplet, which will kind of highlight grip deficiencies if you have any. And then probably the all-time toughest workout, because it's as hard as you ever want to make it. 7 minutes of burpees. It's a throwback to the very first open workout that was ever envisaged. Was it 11.1?
Yeah, I think it was.
11.1 was that snatch double on or something like that. Burpees to touch, 7 minutes. I thought I was going to the CrossFit Games after doing it. Good story, this. Like, me and Ben were at Nuffield Health. Ben signs up. Ben's like, go and do it. So I did it. I got 77 burpees in 7 minutes. Constantly refreshing the leaderboard, thinking, I'm probably one of the best in Europe at this. Ben then goes the next day and gets that. I want to say he gets 119, 120. He does a pretty good score. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not that good. I keep refreshing, and then Ben refreshes it and goes, there's this guy in Russia who did 140 or 150 reps in that time. Yeah. And I remember watching the video, and obviously it was filmed on a potato with a stopwatch. There was no WOD-proof apps.
Yeah, some Russian guy.
He did double my score.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not going to, it wasn't even sectionals or whatever it was. And ever since then, I always tell that story to say you can come so far. I think I've got over 100 now in the 7-minute test, but it's taken a lot of time. And if members are ever worrying about whether it gets easier, it was way worse doing the 100, because I think I did 20 in the first minute back in 2000 and whatever it was. And then I had about 40 seconds rest before I did any more. So it wasn't really a 7-minute AMRAP. It was more like 40 on, 40 off.
Yeah, and it's one of them where when people get to that burpees touch, they'll be wanting to check out.
Yeah.
Do not let them check out. Be hot on them going into that last AMRAP, because you're just gonna need to. They're gonna need that extra bit of oomph from somewhere.
Yeah.
Try and emphasize, like, giving each other a pat on the back before they start that. Like, you're all in it together.
Yeah.
I think top scorer who I know was Reggie when he did it last year, was 147, maybe. I think it was. It might be more. Maybe 153. But I think top worldwide score was 162.
Oh. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So yeah, but yeah, you're gonna need to bring the hype.
Yeah, Saturday, like normally we obviously program partner workouts and kind of our super Saturdays. This is low skill. This is one where you get big buy-in with good vibes, good music. Right, guys, we're in this. This sets the tone for the year. If you write schedules and you're looking at your list of coaches, go for the one that's got a bit of hype about them. Like, not every coach is perfect at everything, i.e. the technical guy, you've got the techie guy, you've got the hype man, the hype woman, you've got the person who loves their gymnastics. This is the coach. You put the coach on who's got it between the sticks to get the vibe going. And it's like, right, let's send it. Let's have a coffee after, because it's normally morning classes, so you can't have a beer.
Wicked. Right, Sunday to finish the first week of 2022. Bit of bench press work.
Yep.
Bit of underarm bent over rowing. Again, just kind of strength maintenance, rep ranges, 5 to 8 reps. Shouldn't be anything too crazy. Again, that's 7 RPE.
Yep.
Nothing much more to that, really.
No, you'll probably find that certainly you're, again, touching on the newer members and the less experienced members. You'll notice across the weekend, you'll get your less confident members coming on a Sunday, because it's less intimidating day. Saturday, your fire breathers come in, they come in and want to smash the doors off of it. Whereas on this one, it's more Sunday, people like to come in and have a bit of a move. Thursday tends to be the same. This is a good opportunity to just dial in some good basics. That workout after can be as hard as you want to make it. It's for people that have done the day before, just back it off a little bit, drop the number of calories, just get the body to flush, kneeling push-ups, nice easy ring rows, and you should be good to go for the following week.
Sweet. Sounds good. Week 1 of 2022 done on our part there.
Very good. And you haven't said 2021 by mistake at all. I normally spend the first 3 months writing it incorrectly.
I'll definitely probably end up doing that at some point for sure. I usually do that as well, to be fair. So, right, team. Hope that sounds good. Obviously, a little bit longer this week talking about that, because talking about the overview of the phase as well, but plenty of great stuff in there. Obviously, we've done these troubleshooting videos as well. We've incorporated them as videos, but we'll also make sure that we kind of send them in the WhatsApp group so you can forward them on to coaches, and just with a few key details from them as well, just as reminders, if anything. So yeah. If you
guys have any thoughts, like, right, I'd love to see a video on X or Y, drop it into us. If we've already done it, we'll obviously point you in the right direction. If it's an answer that we can just do straight away, we'll do that. If it's a video, we'll get in front of the camera.
Yeah. Awesome. Right, team. Thank you very much, and have a good one.
Yeah.